Good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to a new Tenerife and Canary Islands news update. If you're new to the channel, I am Andrew and I do live here in Los Cristianos in Tenerife, where it is absolutely gorgeous today. It's 26 degrees right now. I'm down at the beach, but I'm here to bring you a little bit of information. I've had quite a few messages regarding masks, other little bits of news that are going on. So let's jump straight into it and give you all the info. If you're on your way over to Tenerife or the Canaries this January, you might want to listen in because there is a few little bits of info that you should know. So one thing that people have been messaging me about over the last couple of days is in regards to masks, face coverings. Are they coming back? All of that nightmare that we had over the pandemic, wearing masks, we had to wear them outside, etc, etc. So masks have been reintroduced, but only in a specific area. I'm going to quickly read this article that is doing the rounds in the UK. The Canary Islands, visited by hundreds and thousands of British tourists every year, have joined a list of Spanish hotspots, reintroducing some face mask rules amidst COVID and flu cases soaring. We have had a big increase over here of those cases, which is putting a bit of pressure on the hospitals and those healthcare centres. So from January the 9th, it will be obligatory to use masks only in health centres. So not chemists, only in health centres, so doctors, if you're going into hospitals, etc. Throughout the Canaries. That includes Tenerife, Lanzarote, Gran Canaria. The Canary Islands government says the rule will remain in force while the epidemic does continue. So that's just to try and relieve a little bit of pressure on our health systems. When people are going into the doctors, etc., they want you to wear a face mask if you've got the flu. There's a lot of little bugs flying around, and of course COVID as well. So up until now it was recommended to wear them in health centres, but it will now be mandatory. So no panic, you're not going to have to wear them in bars or restaurants or anything like that. The amount of messages I've had about it, you're not going to wear them on beaches or anything. It would just be if you were going into the doctors or the dentist or into the hospital, you would have to have a mask. I'm sure if you did end up there in an emergency or something, they would give you a mask anyway. But yeah, no panic there. Obviously a lot of people were seeing it and going, oh, not all this all over again. I really don't want to have to bring all those updates again of when you can wear them, not wear them. All of that is long done. So it was recommended anyway. I can see why, because we're getting a big increase of elderly in the hospitals with the flu, COVID as well. So what I would like to see though is a little bit more hand sanitizer around, just in general in the winter. Stops all the bugs that are flying around. So many staff members are off work with little bugs and stuff that are going around. So that is the main little bit of news I was getting a lot of messages about. I'm going to run through various different other little things now that I've picked out for this week. Starting with this one about Tenerife South Airport. A lot of people have been waiting in long lines to get taxis. The queues have been crazy, up to 2 hours long to get a taxi over there. They have announced that Tenerife South Airport will be a designated sensitive zone to end taxi queues. Basically what the Cabildo have come out and said is, rather than having taxis only from the area around Tenerife Airport being able to pick passengers up, they're going to allow everyone, all the taxis, obviously legal and registered, to pick people up from the airports, which is going to make it a lot more accessible, a lot quicker, more taxis available. The move will grant approval for all taxis on the island to pick up passengers at the airport, not only those in the surrounding area, of which there aren't enough to cope with the increased demand as tourism and arrival figures have risen. It is so busy at the airport. We definitely need that brought in, and it will be much quicker. It seemed a bit of a silly thing to do. Basically only the towns surrounding the airport were legally allowed to go in and pick passengers up. So that should definitely reduce the line if you're dreading waiting in that. Alternatively, you have also got the buses. You can use the public bus to get down to Costa Rica, Las Americas, about €3 or so. But again, people have been waiting 2 or 3 buses to go through to get on them. There is long lines at both of them, if you, depending on what time you arrive. Other little bits of news that you might have seen around. In terms of the weather, it's absolutely stunning. We had the hottest December on record for the Canary Islands. It was gorgeous, especially over Christmas, New Year. Best weather we've had since I've lived here for 9 years. It was stunning. It was clear as a bell like this, 26 degrees. It drops down to about 18, 19 at night. Might need a little jacket. That weather is set to continue all the way through this week. Saturday, Sunday might be a little bit overcast, but I can't see too much too much of an issue. It's absolutely gorgeous over here. If you're thinking of coming over to the Canaries, get yourself on Skyscanner and have a little look. There is some gorgeous winter sunshine to be had. The beaches are full, all the excursions are full, the boat trips, it is all going on. And now, talking of boat trips, the ocean, having a swim, cooling off in this hot weather, it is just a little reminder to be very, very careful when you go for a swim. Bear in mind there are those coloured flags behind the beach. They indicate how safe it is to go swimming in the Canaries. They've got it all throughout every single island. Do pay attention to those. Do be very careful, because the Canary Islands had the third highest number of deaths by drowning in 2023. According to the Spanish Royal Life Saving Federation, there was an 8% increase compared to 2022. So do please be very careful when you're going for a swim. If you're with people, tell them to keep an eye on you. If you're going in alone, you have got lifeguards on duty, but we do have riptides, we have strong currents, we do get big waves that come in. So please be very careful when you're having a swim. Do pay attention to those flags. If it's green, obviously it's safe to swim, but you've got to be careful. And no matter what, if it's a red flag, obviously do not go in the water. But yes, do please be very careful. It's just a little reminder that to look after yourselves when you're swimming, particularly in the ocean. In other news, you might have seen Ant and Dec have been out and about in Costa Rica filming a little bit of, I think, a few adverts for Saturday Night Takeaway, which is good. More good news for the island, more good exposure. I think it was just a quick trip. They were in the Guayamina Princess Hotel. If anyone knows that one in Costa Rica, they were doing a little bit of filming in there. But in general, on the channel, I've been out and about doing a lot of live streams. We're in a little bit of a change over here in South Tenerife, between the families that were over for Christmas now heading back, and we've got more couples heading out. So I've seen a lot of my cars returned yesterday and then all going back out today. There is quite a bit of a changeover going on now. Schools are all back in, so all those families have gone home, but the island is still very busy. It's very hard to find accommodation. It is still full. And I've got a lot more couples and older people heading over now. A lot more of the over 50s, the retired, coming out for longer periods. A lot of people have said, well, I can find really cheap flights on Skyscanner, but the accommodation's a fortune, and when I add accommodation to the flights, it's actually quite expensive. You will find cheap flights from the UK, but what you've got to bear in mind is the Canary Islands in the winter are a very popular destination for the whole of Europe. We've got a lot of Germans over here at the moment, Icelandics, Scandinavians, all of those cold European countries, they are all coming over. So that's why a lot of the accommodation is full. People are finding cheap flights and then wondering why it's so expensive, or they can't find hotels. We've got a whole mix of nationalities over here at the moment. Polish, Dutch, absolutely all kinds, coming to escape the cold weather and to get a little bit of winter sunshine. So have a hunt for flights. There's some very good deals, but bear in mind you will need to hunt out some accommodation as well, which at the moment a lot of people are finding to be a little bit expensive, or just cannot get in the hotels that they like or that they want. So something to bear in mind with that. Generally out and about, if you're eating out in the restaurants, I've found between 6 and 8 you will have no problem. If you go in after 8 o'clock, people are facing waits because the restaurant's full, or they're being turned away because they don't have a reservation. So if you normally like to eat after 8 o'clock, be prepared to wait a little bit. There is still huge staff shortages over here. Very, very difficult getting chefs, servers, etc. So service is a little bit slower than maybe pre-pandemic. Or alternatively, eat earlier. You'll have a little bit less of a wait, a little bit more freedom with where you want to sit, etc, etc. But in general, particularly here in Tenerife where I am, I can only really speak for Tenerife from what I've seen online on the groups of the other islands as well. The weather is fantastic. Everyone is having a great time. The excursions are busy. The hotels are busy, the bars are busy, the restaurants are busy, and we're certainly not complaining with this sort of weather. It is absolutely stunning. A few people have messaged me regarding muggings and things like that. Thankfully, that did calm down. We had that week where it was night after night after night, and I did feel it was necessary to warn people. I do still stand by the warning as well, of course, for pickpockets. That is still going on. So when you come over, look after your wallets, maybe just take cash out or a card. Look after your phones, your bags, your purses, because they are still around, especially in those busy areas, the Sunday markets, anywhere where it's crowded. So definitely look after yourselves. And if you are renting a car, don't leave items inside the car. Take your rucksacks with you. Even if you're stopping off at some nice viewpoints up the volcano, etc., take your stuff with you, because there is opportunists who, if they see a bag on the back seat or see you leave something in the boot, they will smash the window or they'll pop the door locks and take those items, so do be careful with that. If I have missed anything, do let me know down in the comments. They were the main articles I wanted to choose from, particularly with getting those messages regarding masks only in hospitals and doctors, basically, so nothing to panic about. They have seen a bit of an increase. It is putting a little bit of pressure on our hospitals. Of course, we are only an island, so we have to be careful with hospital beds, how many people are in ICU, etc, etc. So it's just a little bit of a precautionary move. Bear in mind, they've done it in Benidorm and other areas like that, other hotspots, so it's something to consider. If you have enjoyed the update, do please give me a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments if I've missed anything. And of course, make sure you subscribe. It's completely free. I do bring these regular little updates with information that I find important for you all if you're coming over. So do make sure you subscribe. There's loads of videos, particularly on Tenerife. And I've recently done a Canary Islands cruise. Those vlogs are going up on the channel at the moment, where we stopped in Gran Canaria, Lanzarote, Tenerife, and also in Madeira in Portugal. So those videos are on the channel for you to enjoy, completely free. Thank you very much for watching, and of course, stride on. I will see you in the next update. Look after yourselves.